What's up, guys? It's Gambit. Thanks for dropping in for another Godforge video. Today we're going to be doing our end of Beta 1 review. It has been over for about 4 days now, so we've had plenty of time really to think about what we're missing. Man, I really wish I could log in because that was fun kind of thing. So we're going to do a full in-depth review, kind of go over a couple of the things that we liked, and also touch on a lot of the things that we are hoping that they are able to fix and have implemented before Beta 2. Very important that they get some of these fixes in because honestly there is quite a few rough edges that need smoothed over. That said, I'll go ahead and kick it off with reiterating from my previous kind of midpoint review that the intro is very well done. Love the intro to the game. Clicking through that start menu, you're brought to this beautiful cinematic where you get to see just a great battlefield, just a very, very well done cinematic here. Really kind of amps you up, kind of gives you goosebumps getting into the game. Very, very cool. That being said, it kind of leads you into the tutorial where it equally is well done. Very short tutorial, which is what we really like. Covers the basics and then lets you go play the game. Was very happy for that. Additionally, after that, you get to the Sanctum, which is kind of the home hub where you access all of these different areas of the game that they want you to try out for the beta. Initially you're like, oh wow, this is cool. You know, the forge in the center, beautiful. The border of that town is honestly lifeless. It's very dead. The quests is very odd over there with like the crystal ball and, you know, no roof over it. That's kind of odd. So just the border of the town, very lackluster. I wish that it had a theme that better fit the game. You know, this is Godforge. There's all these different pantheons and factions and lots of gods and Greek mythology and everything. I would love to see some of that reflected in the town here. I spent days on other games just kind of running around and, you know, granted it's not the same genre, but in Destiny, running around the tower and things like that. So there's certain aspects of the game that can be well done beyond just the actual hands-on gameplay that can make somebody really interested and want to just sit here and look. It doesn't quite have that appeal for me yet. Hopefully they can make some tweaks here and make it a little bit more interesting. Audio as well. You know, some of the sounds are really good in the game, I won't lie. But there's other ones where I'm like, you could do better. Sound is another one of those big things that could really draw certain players in, myself included. I remember New World had amazing audio, maybe some of the best audio I've ever heard in a game. I used to be able to queue up that game and just sit in the menu, not even log in, listening to the sounds. So hopefully they can do those small things because that's the face of the game. You know, the first audio that you hear while you're in here, and this is the first screen that you see. I think it needs some definite touch-ups to be more appealing. That being said, this is just a video playing in the background, so I can't click in and show specifics or anything. But beyond this initial UI that is going on here, there are some other areas of the game that need work. They're not consistent across all of their different menus in the game. You can see like the X button up there is there, but then when you get to a different area, like the bazaar between the hero UIs, the ability to close it out is in different areas. They look different. Sometimes you can actually work yourself into a place in the UI that there is no exit button and you literally have to like hard quit the game to get back to able to play. So those are the small things that need fixed. Very, very important to not fluster a user, especially a new user, with the inability to even play the game. So that's a major one that really just needs some work. Also, crafting was a big one. Whenever you're trying to level up beyond just that first ascension star, and you have the ability to take some very early materials and convert them into like mid and end level materials, but it was very tough to do. If you weren't in the exact right menu, the plus button wasn't there for you to be able to make that conversion. So there's like different areas you have to go to make that happen, and depending on the resource, it's in a different place. Those are kind of those unforgivable things. Obviously, those will be fixed. The game's hardly, that that feature is not functional in that current state. It is something that I'm sure that they're aware of, and I'm sure that they're going to address hopefully before the next beta. But that's also a really big one that definitely needs fixed. Moving on from just kind of the little quirks that they have on their UIs, I think the mechanic for the gear could use some love as well. A lot of things there, mostly gear swapping. I think that could be definitely improved, maybe be able to make some custom sets, and those aren't always implemented when a game launches. Sometimes those features do come later, but it's very important, and I think it can make a lot of people stay in the game if that kind of thing is easier. You don't want it to be a whole game in itself just figuring out how to swap your gear around efficiently. So I think that'll be a big one. Also, beyond gear, but just upgrading in general, I think for the launch of a game, there's a couple too many currencies for me. I thought it was a little odd that you have gear and you need gold and the Rivenite to upgrade it. I think the Rivenite, it was kind of just a useless thing to add in. Like, it felt unnecessary to me. But, maybe they have their reasons for it, but we'll have to see. But as of right now, it is for early on in a game, pre-release, it's just like an unnecessary resource to have to juggle, in my opinion. Maybe make Rivenite necessary for like mythical level gear when they add that into the game, if they do, things like that. But yeah, just I think they could definitely shrink their amount of resources that they have available in the game at this current state. That being said, what you saw there, that bright flash of light, I love the summoning in this game. This menu right here feels good, where they're all kind of lightning striking in and everything. That's super cool. Love that. But once you actually click the summon button and it zooms in, it is bright, like very, very bright. Like, I don't know if you can see it on the video when it happens, but my whole face is lit up. I actually kind of have to squint a little bit. That could use some work. Not too thrilled with that, but again, I like the forge itself. It looks very good. I love that ball of energy in the middle. That's great. Just a couple tiny things that they could improve on there. Moving into like probably the most important parts of the game, where you're actually engaged in combat. We'll start with the campaign, because that's kind of where everybody's journey starts. Very happy with the campaign. I think when it's done, it's gonna be very good, a very good story to follow. Hopefully they get all of their kind of little cinematic storytelling bits in. Quite a few of them, about half of them, were still in production, so they didn't make this beta. But I'm excited. It's not too bad. A couple things that I would do here. You can see when I clicked on the node there that like the video pops up every time. I think after the first one, it should no longer pop up, and they should have a button on the menu if you want to watch it again. But yeah, it's just kind of forced, and you saw their visuals in development. That won't be there. So just a reminder, this is beta, and everything here is going to be hopefully fixed, and the actual release of the game will have a lot of this smoothed over. I actually have it up right here on the video that's playing behind me. The requirements there: clear the stage with 2 Olympus or 2 American heroes. Not a big fan of that for the campaign. I think for the normal campaign, it needs to be generic requirements. And then once you get to the adventure mode, then get a little bit picky and much harder, and maybe have better resources available as rewards. But the way they have it set up right now for, literal stage 1 or realm 1 and 2, it forces you to widen your roster out across other factions that you may have not been using. And I think that really just makes users feel like they're stalled a little bit, in my opinion. I want to take my core characters that I drew and was excited to power up and level up and everything. I want to throw them in, level them up, and let them carry me through the campaign. But you don't get to do that because you got to pause, kick 2 of them off your team, add 2 in for the requirements. It's just a little bit of honestly, it's a stall. That's all it is. I don't mind getting through the campaign to adventure mode, and then from that point, expanding out into like a faction wars or the different pantheons that are available, kind of thing. But yeah, it just felt a little bit of a brick there for me on the requirements. Past that, the campaign feels good. I like the story kicking off. Their art choice for how they tell their story after you win each node, it's cool. I actually enjoy it quite a bit, and it's unique. But as in every game, I do wish that maybe at the final boss of every realm would kick into one of those gorgeous cinematics, kind of like what they launched the game with. I know that's probably more expensive and time consuming and things like that, but for my personal preference, those are the kind of cinematics that I keep coming back for. I would probably click on there and watch it numerous times if it was good enough. Sometimes I go back and play the old Halo games just so I can watch all the cinematics, things like that. That's a big one for me. But for the art styles, I don't remember what it's called, but the one where it just looks like a kind of a book that's being drawn on to tell the story. Very cool, and I love to see it once. But honestly, after that once, I'm probably not going back in to watch it again myself. So, but very good story. Excited to get the entire thing. Very, very well done there. The combat itself felt really good. I think for it just being in beta, I expected that to honestly be one of the things that kind of I didn't care for, but I thought the abilities and how the abilities look and kind of how the flow of the wave-based campaign content goes, I thought it was really good. Some of the bosses actually gave me like a run for the money, especially Marduk at the very end. Very cool. I thought it was challenging enough and very well done there. The mechanic in the combat system for the ultimates is very, very good. I'm glad they added it in there. Honestly, that might have just kind of saved everything for me by making it different from the other games that I have played. The ability to do it out of turn is also really cool because there are other games like Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes isn't necessarily a gacha game, but it's a turn-based hero collector game, so very similar except for you don't draw characters, you target farm and earn them. But it has ultimates on some of the characters, but you cannot use them out of turn. So very cool that they've kind of put their own spin on that kind of thing. Very, very well done there. Outside of the campaign, another area that we did get our hands on for this initial beta was the dungeons. I thought the dungeons were okay. Honestly, nothing special. I hope that they can add some flavor, some variety to the dungeons. I think it should feel more important, the team comp that you're taking in and how well-rounded that team is, the necessary buffs and debuffs for that team and that particular dungeon boss should be in there. I just didn't feel that. Additionally, I think especially the first few dungeon bosses, the ones that give you the spirit, they definitely need some variety. In truth, I did kind of feel like I was fighting the same one no matter which one I chose to do. If you were to, I think, look at like the mechanics and what those particular dungeon bosses do, they're very similar, just with a small tweak. I think adding some very unique, exciting abilities that you actually have to manage and juggle would go a long way and hold my interest a little bit more. I thought they looked a little too similar, and I never like when that happens. But they had their own look, but they all had that same purple void-like glow to them. And I never, in games like Destiny, that's kind of a turnoff for me whenever you take the boss and then you just skin them over with like the Taken look if you've played Destiny. But you just kind of yeah, it just was a little too similar. I would like to see some better boss art, if you will, some cooler abilities and mechanics, things like that, that are just very wildly different, so that I have to manage dungeons better. I think I see dungeons and like the end clan boss type things as more in-game content, and I would like for it to feel that way. Didn't quite get that out of this one. I think that they need to work a little bit on their scaling from stage to stage. I felt like stage 1 was honestly just as hard as like stage, I think it was 6. And then once you hit stage 7, it's like, holy shit, I was beating stage 6 in 30 seconds. But stage 7, I can't even complete. So I think they need to work on their difficulty scaling just a little bit. I want to feel some pressure and some pushback until I can't do it anymore. Not, I'm easily clearing this one and then I'm not clearing that one. It makes me feel like something's either wrong with the game or I can't hone in on what it is that I need to fix on my builds, that kind of thing. So I think it would go a long way if they were able to kind of add some variety and then smooth over the difficulties. That said, I think the rewards were okay from the dungeons, but I didn't feel the need to farm dungeons really any more than campaign. I think the only one I really felt the need to farm was Hag, just to try to get the legendary weapons. Her resources honestly weren't that great. I felt like my time was a little bit wasted. That being said, I think all the rewards in general, they kind of need to be a little bit better explained. One, what you're gonna get, being able to click on and see like how much of these you're gonna get. That's just so we can do some calculations and juggle how we want to do things. But also, the time that it took to farm for beta 1 was horrendous. Honestly, I would have to say the worst that I've ever seen. I did not feel like my time logged in was worthwhile. And I think it's just because the mechanic is missing. Surely it will come to this game. I've never seen a game not have kind of a speed up farm mechanic. To go into some of the other games in the genre, like Raid Shadow Legends, they have the double run. I don't remember what it's called, but you could check the box and it's technically running it twice every time you do it. That's fine. I would like to go a step even further, maybe do it 3 or 4 times, or just give us the multi-sim option. I understand why these games don't like to do multi-sim, because I can knock out everything so fast and then get off the game. But at the same time, it works. That part works for Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. That has multi-sim, and I still find myself logged into the game a lot. So I hope they find... one, I hope they add the mechanic. Again, surely they will. That I've never seen these games not have some form of that speed up mechanic there. But hopefully whatever they add in makes me feel like my time spent on here is more worthwhile. I was literally leaving this game on overnight on multi-sim battles and walking away and coming back the next day, and it's still going. I know when the game drops I won't have that much energy in reality, but I was doing way too much of that farming. It was pretty wild. That's a mandatory one for me, honestly. That needs to be put in the game pretty quickly, ideally before beta 2. I think my final kind of negative, or not even really negative, just more of a suggestion for the game, is about the starter character. And all these types of games and this game, it feels important. Like, oh, which starter character am I going to take? Because that should set the tone for how well your early progression goes and what teams you're going to build, things of that nature. But in this game, I recommended people take Guan Yu. I took Ramses because I wanted the poison, and then I ended up using Lady Jacques the most. So I didn't feel like any of them were like game breaking. And I think that when you take this starter character, it really should lead your roster, at least for a little bit. And it didn't feel that way in this game. I know it's a beta and they gave us a lot of resources, so maybe that's the reason I pulled so many characters, that they just got outmatched quickly. But it didn't feel important to me. You know, within the first 30 minutes of the game, I had all 3 of them, so it didn't matter which one I took in the beginning. that kind of thing. Maybe they should lower the drop rates of the other starter characters or something. It's a weird thing to ask for, but I just want it to feel like my decision of who my starter character is to be more important in the game. I think making these important decisions needs to be a staple. So yeah, hopefully they can just figure out how to do that. In other games like Raid, you know, every time I start an account over there, like I'm gonna take Kale because I know he's the best. I know he's gonna carry my account progress and through the campaign for a long time until I get another character that can match him. Just don't feel that way in this game as of right now. So hopefully they can clean that one up a little bit. That being said, guys, that is going to do it for this video. I think that's all the feedback that I have for Fateless and the team. And I'm very curious on what your guys' feedback is. In this video, did I cover anything or say anything that you disagree with? I would love to know. Let me know in the comments that I'm wrong. Let me know what you agreed with, if there was any of that. And just give me your overall thoughts. What are you thinking about Godforge? How was your beta 1 experience? What are you looking forward to in beta 2? I think this game has incredibly high potential. I'm really, really rooting for it. I am hoping that it is successful. I'm kind of tired of games that I'm really rooting for going under. It's happened a few too many times to me. Games like Anthem. Anthem's probably the highest potential game I've ever seen. It's an MMORPG. Looked gorgeous, failed. It just could not keep up, and it failed. Hasn't sunset yet, but sunsetting the first of the year. New World, probably my favorite MMORPG of all time. It's great, it's beautiful, great audio. And yeah, it could not support its player base. So that one's failing as well. And then actually another kind of gotcha game in this exact genre that didn't make it was Lord of the Rings. Heroes of Middle-earth is what it was called. It was only out for about 2 months, and then I think that one was more of a business thing on why it failed, not necessarily the community or their inability to build the game. I think it just got bought out, and they didn't see it as something they wanted to deal with, so sunset that game quickly too. But I'm really rooting for one of these gacha games for me to be able to get on the ground level. You know, like what are your options right now? They're all 7 to 10 years old. So really, really, really want this game to take off and do well. So that's what this video is for, to give the feedback, what I want to see. Maybe if you guys don't agree with it, absolutely drop it in the comments. I think Fateless is watching all these videos. I think they're taking all of our feedback. There's actually an active survey out right now. I'm going to drop that link down in the comments below. If you played the beta and you haven't seen that survey yet, click on that link, drop all your thoughts. The only way you're going to make this game what you want it to be is if you give them your feedback. So I think that is absolutely mandatory that we make these kinds of videos, let them know what we're thinking so that this game will be successful. Again, that is going to do it for this video, guys. If you like the content, if you want to see more Godforge in the future, be sure to like and subscribe. That would help out the channel a lot. Let me know that it's worthwhile and worth continuing. Again, appreciate you guys' time if you made it to the end of the video, and we will catch you in the next one.